does that, and getting to 3 finals, winning one, and hopefully, who knows, today maybe it could be the second. It's just massive for us. It just tells our boys that come from really tough backgrounds that if they put in the hard yards, that they can achieve whatever they set themselves to achieve. So yeah, super proud of them already, but I'm just hoping they go one last step.
Well, very good luck to you. Wishing the best for you. Good luck today.
Thanks, Ron.
And I'm gonna throw it up to Ollie and Ben in the gantry, man.
Thank you, Grant, again. What a class act that was from Evangelos Velios, the head coach. Really interesting what he was saying about how they're trying to bring the football pride back to South Africa and how the players have come from such tough backgrounds and beginnings, but the fact that they're here playing football at the highest level for their country, it's really lovely to see.
It is, and that comes across in the way they play and the way they carry themselves. I think they've lit up this tournament. Credit to the Indian sides as well for the part they played, and it was great to see Punjab beat Aston Villa earlier to secure 3rd place, but Stellenbosch have been the standout overseas side. They're unbeaten with 3 1-0 wins. The fact they've not conceded a goal during the Next Gen Cup is quite the accomplishment given the quality they've been up against. I think the only concern would be the fact they've not won any of the shootouts.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, and that brought me on to my next point, in fact, about the fact that they do have a very good defence. They haven't conceded yet, and that's a very good trait to have when you're wanting to try and win a trophy. Now, of course, they have won it 2 years ago. They beat Leicester 7-2. The format of the Next Generation Cup has changed somewhat in the last few years. Of course, this is the 4th final, or the 5th final now we've got, so it started in 2020. Back then it was just for teams of under 15s from overseas and under 14s from those in the UK. But then, of course, in 2022, the age went up a bit from under 19s. That's what we see today. But, of course, there were 2 finals. So there were 2 groups, each in a different location in England. You've obviously had one in London, which was won by West Ham against Tottenham. West Ham won 8-0. So Tottenham really will not be wanting to have any repeat of that embarrassment that they faced in the final 2 seasons ago. Of course, Stellenbosch embarrassed their opponents in the final, 7-2 winners against Leicester in the Midlands group. So that was very impressive from themselves. Of course, they couldn't back up and make it 2 victories out of 2 in the Next Generation Cup, but they have a chance to make it 2 wins of this tournament in 3 years. It's going to be very interesting, but they haven't won a penalty shootout at all this tournament. Of course, penalty shootouts were a thing. After the game would be played, after the 50 minutes, there would always be a penalty shootout regardless of the scoreline, and that was in order for a team to win a bonus point. Stellenbosch weren't able to get any of those bonus points that were available to them. That's the complete opposite for Spurs, who managed to win all of their penalty shootouts. So they'll be confident if it was to go to spot kicks. So we're just going to pop back down to Grant at pitch side. Over to you, Grant Ibokwe.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Premier League Next Generation Cup Final 2024. Hey, I'm stupid gassed to watch 2 teams that have battled it out over the last 4 days come together for the culmination of the Premier League Next Gen Cup. Tottenham Hotspur versus Stellenbosch FC from South Africa. Now I'm going to throw it up to the gantry before we get into some manager interviews.
Thank you very much, Grant. So, of course, you did say, Ben, that Stellenbosch have kind of been the pride of the tournament. They've brought the energy. And that is true. When we'd walk around Bodymore Heath, the Aston Villa training ground, you'd see all their dances and just the energy they brought on the sidelines. I haven't had the fortune yet of commentating on their games, but I've definitely heard the noise behind me. Of course, there were 2 pitches that would have simultaneous games going on. And, of course, Stellenbosch, when playing behind me, I could certainly be drawn to their celebrations. It could be a throw, it could be a goal. You'd still think it's the same thing, but it's great to hear. So we've heard Grant with Velios of Stellenbosch. Now he's going to be with Stuart Lewis at pitchside, the Tottenham Hotspur head coach.
Okay, guys, I'm here live pitch side with Tottenham coach Stuart Lewis on the eve of the Premier League Next Gen Cup 2024 final. Now, you guys had done all you could do in your earlier match yesterday. You won your game, you won your penalty shootout, so you was back in the hotel when you found out that you was going to be in the final. How did you and the boys react?
I think one of the boys sent a video into the WhatsApp group and they was all celebrating, and obviously disappointing for Everton, but great opportunity for us today to play in a final, a really good venue against tough opposition.
So you guys did face Stellenbosch FC earlier on in the competition. You lost 1-0. What lessons did you take from that game, and how do you feel prepared coming into this game?
Yeah, I thought we didn't start the game as we'd have liked, so I think that'll be something we'll be looking to do today. But following that opening probably 5-10 minutes, I thought we really sort of dominated the game with the ball, so we'll be looking to do that again today, and probably having a little bit more cutting edge in the final third. But we've done that the last 2 days. We've scored 7 goals, so hopefully we can take that momentum into today's game.
Well, thank you very much for joining us pre-match. I know you've got a lot of things to do before you kick off. Thank you very much for joining us. And I'm going to throw it up to Ollie and Ben in the gantry. Kick-off is literally a couple minutes away. I can't wait.
Thank you very much, Grant. We can't wait either. It's going to be a really interesting affair, of course, as they just touched upon in that interview. Stellenbosch have already beaten Tottenham when they came up against them. However, I've commentated on both Spurs' game since then, and I generally feel like they're starting to grow into this competition now. Of course, it has only been 3 games, but this often does happen in these types of competitions. As confidence grows and the performances get better, you do start to see a momentum shift, and I think that could be seen here today, Ben. I suppose we've got that all to unfold.
Absolutely, and it's also testament to the format of this competition with the penalty shootout, so it is 4 points up for grabs in each game, and Tottenham came away from that first match with just the 1 point, having lost in 50 minutes to Stellenbosch. But then, you know, that penalty shootout at the end isn't just there for fun, it's there to offer you an opportunity to make up ground on days 2 and 3 if you don't have a great first day, and that's exactly what Tottenham did. They were not really in the conversation to qualify for the final early doors, but you know, Everton slipped up. Crystal Palace also lost to Stellenbosch. So just think Tottenham maybe played with a bit less pressure on themselves in days 2 and 3. And like you say, got a couple of important wins. And those penalty shootout victories, 3 from 3, perfect record, is what's got them here.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how Stellenbosch can play in this final. They'll be oozing with confidence. Their defence will be especially confident for this game, as they haven't conceded a goal yet. They've beaten all 3 sides they came up against. They, of course, beat Spurs 1-0, then they beat Aston Villa 1-0, and then Crystal Palace. And as you mentioned there, Ben, it looked like after the first day, you didn't think that Tottenham were really going to be in the conversation, and then all of a sudden, after day 2, you then start to see them go up the table, and once it starts to mould properly, you then realise that they do have a real shout. And I was there for the Everton game when they beat Mahout 6-0, and you really got an idea that they were probably going to be here this afternoon, and I think they were absolutely devastated. You could see after the full-time whistle went, after they lost to Punjab yesterday, that they were really frustrated they weren't able to make the most of that gain that they had after the first 2 performances.
Yeah, and Aston Villa also were devastated not to quite do enough. They had the chance yesterday. They played East Bengal in that final fixture. Knew they needed to score at least 6 if they were going to finish above Tottenham in the group. They got to 4-0, missed a penalty to make it 5, and in the interviews after the game, a couple of Villa players were talking about how they knew what the target was and they were trying their best to get there. But in the end, it was Spurs that have made it.
Well, the Allison stand just in front of us, getting more filled by the second. Of course, you have got the East Bengal team who have come here to witness the game. Of course, they didn't have the most successful of times, but they certainly had some good players. Talk to me about East Bengal.
Really enjoyed them. You know, they're in some high-scoring games, not always scorelines they would have been too grateful for, but they did get on the score sheet today. I think that was a really nice moment, actually. They were 7-0 down, but never gave in, got the late goal to make it 7-1. You have to applaud that, really. And the same can be said for Punjab, as we touched on. For them to get third place after they took a couple of beatings in the early stages of the competition. But what a result it was for them against Everton.
Oh, magnificent. Sorry to cut you up there. But no, it was magnificent. Punjab FC certainly gave their fans something at home to shout about, and they deserved it. They looked really energetic, they were very dynamic, and they just had that bit of flair that you knew that they had and they possessed. But it was good to see it pulled off, and the players are waiting in the tunnel. Tottenham in their home strip, and Stellenbosch just yet to come out of their dressing room, but Tottenham are there, ready and waiting. They've made a couple of changes in goal. Typically, they've gone for Samuel Archer or Charlie Warren, but it looks like it will be Samuel Archer starting. What do you think the players will be thinking right now, Ben?
Well, they have had a dress rehearsal for this, of course, a few days ago in the group stage. I think Tottenham will know a bit more now about the energy and the spark that Stellenbosch provide. I commentated on their game yesterday when they beat Crystal Palace, and the celebrations, not just when they scored, but there was a couple of last-ditch clearances they made. There was a penalty save in there as well from David Passman, the substitute goalkeeper. Double save with the defender getting a block on the second effort, and that was as if they'd scored a goal. It was really loud. It drowned my voice out, which is difficult enough to do.
That says a lot.
But Tottenham will be well aware of the threat.
There they go as they come out in front of the Allison stand at the Loughborough University Stadium. The nerves will be building, but I'm sure both sides are very much looking forward to this, as are we. Good afternoon and good evening to everyone who is watching across the globe on all media platforms.
Both players are going to need it.
With Grant just trying to get the crowd going. Of course, the players ready and waiting. Stellenbosch will be bringing their passion. Tottenham will be bringing their skill and technicality that was on show in the last two games. Of course, they've scored 7 goals in 2 games. 3-0 winners against Punjab FC, which is no mean feat. Of course, Punjab FC beat Aston Villa today 2-0. So it does show the quality that they really started to ramp up after their first defeat to Stellenbosch back on Thursday. And then they backed that up with a really impressive 4-0 win yesterday against Muthoot. They've got some brilliant players. And look at the fireworks. Will there be fireworks? We hope so. Time will tell in the next 50+ minutes. Of course, 2 25-minute halves. When the ball goes out of play, the timer stops. So it's a different dynamic to what we're typically used to on the football scene, with a short break in between Tottenham and Stellenbosch. So we'll start off with Tottenham Hotspur and their squad, as the music of the Premier League anthem rings round the stadium. Soaking up the atmosphere. It's loud, isn't it, Ben?
It is, and one thing to note, this will go straight to penalties if it does result in a draw, so you wonder if psychologically that might be in Tottenham's favour.
Well, you'd think the nerves may be creeping up to Stellenbosch if it was to end with a penalty shootout. That's where the psychology of penalties can really play its part. But we've still got 50 minutes of football to play before then. Stellenbosch look ready, Tottenham just getting in their huddle. And here is the side of Tottenham Hotspur. Number 1, Samuel Archer. Number 2, Dante Orr, who's really impressed when he's come on at full-back. Callum Logan, 2 at left-back. Janai Byfield, Malachi Hardy, Jamel Beggs, Herbie James, George Feeney, Ellis Lehane, who's their top goal scorer with 2 under his name in this competition. Harry Byrne, Luca Williams-Barnett, who really impressed in the 4-0 win yesterday. Samuel Bangura, Charlie Warren, the other goalkeeper. Tynan Thompson, who was excellent yesterday down the left-hand side. Elijah Upson, Dexter Oliver, Ronnie Moncur, Leon Meritage, Reece Elliott Paris, and Miracle Adewole. So for Stellenbosch, coached by Evangelos Velius, the side 30 miles away from Cape Town, Dejin Arshin, Shakir Ahmed, Rijal Pillay, Tylan, Simon Thindile, Sishi, Zenden Bell, the Major, number 7, that's what he likes to go by, and that's what we'll refer him to. Ethan Felix, Pilates, Kyle Bailey, Roy Keane Aventur, Keenan Johansson, Tyler Cicero, Andreas, Passman, Slade, Philander, and Gene Topley. So there are the squads. 2 more players for Spurs. Maybe injuries crept up on Stellenbosch, but they'll be able to use all of their squads. You can see the drums just behind Stellenbosch over on that far side next to their bench. So hopefully we get a nice musical, traditional rendition of both sets of players in a huddle. You can tell this means something. We haven't seen this yet so far, Ben, when we've been commentating. Typically, the players are there in their positions, but right now the huddles, I think, suggest that they're really seeing how serious this is.
Indeed, and I saw a huddle from Stellenbosch when I first arrived here just over an hour ago. They're on the pitch in a huddle. This means lots of them, and the atmosphere that their fans are going to create. We've not been used to seeing games in the Next Gen Cup in front of an audience, but of course the final here at Loughborough University Stadium warrants such a big crowd.
Well, here we go, counted down by Grant, the referee. Yet to blow his whistle, but it will be Stellenbosch to get us underway in the 5th final of the Next Generation Cup here at Loughborough. They've got the stand, they've got the people watching. That can surely make the nerves more.
Absolutely. They have been in finals before in this competition, as you said, and they got a lot of support for themselves. They have done all week. Saw yesterday after their win over Crystal Palace, they were applauding the fans like you typically see. There's an early chance here for the Major.
The Major just felt he was pulled there, I think. We'd have to look at the replay on that, but he opened up room, managed to get into a dangerous position by the byline as he was up against Adewole.
Yeah, that last touch just got away from him. Maybe the defender just did enough, but that's the threat the Major poses. He likes to hug that left touch line.
And now here's a brilliant opportunity for Spurs. So the first shot on goal, just over the goal, but it was struck from Ellis Lehane, who's looking to get his 3rd goal of the competition. Already a player is down. Not good to see for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, we've seen most English sides at this competition play with a sole striker, a typical number 9, and Lehane there made a very classic number 9 run and then tried to find the near post with that effort, but a frantic start.
Very frantic start. Of course, like you said, the Major likes to hug that touchline. He likes to try and weave his way in behind and create some danger for the opposition. And then we saw the exact same from the number 9 of Spurs, Ellis Lehane. So already we're starting to see the attacking talent unfold in front of us. And they're trying to get off on the mark. So it was number 11, Luca Williams-Barnett, who really impressed yesterday in the 4-0 win against Matut. He had a brilliant game in central midfield. Manages to always find green space. And he got a deserved goal right at the end. Fed in from Adewole, the number 20, who's, of course, playing today. Crossed it in from a really tight angle. It was a peach of a ball. Williams-Barnett was there to just rifle it in to the roof of the net from the edge of the area. He's got an eye for a pass and an eye for a goal. But luckily all players are good to carry on. That's almost quite a weak pass. It almost fell to Lehane. Have to be wary there, but it worked out well, and it's with the skipper now, Ahmed.
Yeah, Ahmed, one to look out for today. You might not typically think that of a right back, but he was the one that popped up at the back post on the left-hand side to head in the winner against Crystal Palace, and he does like to get involved higher up the pitch. He's very capable on the ball.
Really well done there from Williams-Barnett as he just backheeled it. Here they come again, Stellenbosch. Both sets of players believing it was theirs, but the assistant referee's verdict is that it's for those of Stellenbosch.
Yeah, Kyle Bailey wearing number 10 for Stellenbosch. also very influential throughout this competition. He'll look to pick up those spaces in between the lines and try and create chances for the likes of Plates playing ahead of him.
Here's Logan just playing it in field, but almost gifting it away. His centre-back has to try and help it out. The Major almost opened up the scoring. Stellenbosch players with their hands on their head as they believe it was a guaranteed goal. What defending this was.
Well, I can't believe he's not found the net. It was poor initially from Tottenham, but Major has so much time to pick his spot. He hits it well enough, but I thought he might have gone across the goalkeeper there. He just gave him enough of a chance to save it.
Excellent save from Archer. Has to be wary here, as it's thumped forward. Doesn't trouble the Tottenham back line. It's safely in the grasp of Samuel Archer. He just made that heroic save. What a start that would have been for Stellenbosch, and it did come from a Tottenham mistake as they gifted it away.
And again, they're living dangerously, and Keenan is really lively. He did everything right, and again, they're giving it away.
Stellenbosch try and make the most of it. He won't want to watch that one back. For a second, it looked like it could have gone over that building.
Yeah, but again, Stellenbosch full of energy, really pressurising that Tottenham back line. Of course, they want to play out from the back. They've been doing that all week. Just a high and not very handsome effort in the end.
Just got his foot underneath the ball completely. It was quite flat-footed strike as well. Hence the direction, but we're currently seeing a Stellenbosch player down right now.
I think it is Keenan who has been leading that press, and it was him that really provided that chance for the Major just a moment ago. Did everything right as he spotted the number 7, who was in a much better shooting position than himself. And I think the Major will be regretting that one. Just Stellenbosch fans will be hoping they don't live to regret it. You might not get that many clear-cut chances against this Tottenham side who have been improving all week.
They've really set alight the competition in the last 2 games. They're going to look to try and make it 3 wins in 3, and what a 3rd win it would be for Stellenbosch. And to extend that run to 4 wins, that would see them crowned this season's Next Generational Cup winners. Regain the title that they previously had in 2022, but lost it last year to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Tottenham just trying to enjoy the ball, as we just saw a Stellenbosch player go down due to an injury. Luckily he's all good to carry on. Ball finds its way out on that far right-hand side. Through Thompson. Very lively player as that's whipped in with pace. Not the best header. But that was a brilliant ball nonetheless.
It was. Elliot Paris right in front of goal there. There was a lot of pace on the cross, so perhaps made it difficult for him to judge the contact.
Just missed time there from Elliot Paris. Another tricky winger. Do you think Tottenham have got the best wingers out of the, some of the best wingers out of the crop we've seen this tournament? Such a depth and quality they have as well.
Yeah, Stellenbosch just need to be mindful of those short corners. Beggs was able to ghost in there quite easily.
One ball put in, kept alive. Bit of physicality being shown, and it's Elliot Paris with a second opportunity in a matter of minutes. This time he scuffed it over the crossbar, unable to keep it down.
Yeah, the ball was just a bit stuck in his feet, and he couldn't quite create enough space for himself to have a nice backswing on that effort, so he was a bit off balance, and he just leant back as he struck that over the bar.
So far, Elliot Paris getting himself into good positions, just needs that final touch to be able to make it count. Stellenbosch haven't found themselves with the ball, find themselves with it now through the Major. Heavy pass, and it's safely back into the grasp of Archer.
He's a type of character, the Major, that will really be looking to make amends for that miss early on. He is all action. He will demand the ball. Got plenty of pace and trickery.
When you want to go by the name of the Major, you know that it's these events you feel you're made for, these finals where you want to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and be like a Major and make a major impact. Here's Logan. Just giving something for Ahmed to think about, but thought he had a bit too much of the ball there. Well, one back by Williams-Barnett. Brilliant footwork as he takes it through the Stellenbosch midfield. Elliot Paris judged to have fouled the Stellenbosch right back there.
Yeah, really smart defending from Ahmed, using his experience. He plays like a player that is certainly a lot older than this age group. Such a clever player, and I mentioned his ability to get forward, but he's well aware of when the right time is to do that and when to stay deep. But just talking about the major, in that penalty shootout against Palace, he's got a very interesting pre-penalty ritual. He sort of stands to the side and perhaps trying to psych out the keeper.
It's a lovely ball. Logan's there to do his defensive duties as he just gets a really important touch to take it away from the Stellenbosch attack. But the attack's not over, they've got a corner.
Yeah, Stellenbosch, probably one of the overseas teams that do carry a threat from set pieces. You see the number 4, Tylon, striding forward. He's really good in the air. Everyone back for Tottenham. Definitely recognising that threat.
Luis Cicero, number 14, with the in-swinger. Good height on it, but it's unable to find a player in maroon. Good switch out to Cicero, but he's in an offside position. That Stellenbosch attack is short-lived. Needed to time his run there. Tottenham take it quickly. They look to try and get it up the field through their number 6, Jamel Beggs, who I was really impressed with yesterday. Always provides an option, and the second he gets the ball, he's looking to play it forward. Doesn't always force it either. He can play the simple pass well as well. Here comes Stellenbosch through the major, up against Adewale. He lays it off to Felix.
Beautiful football initially from Stellenbosch. There's lots of Tottenham players hunting them in the middle of the park, and a lot of nice one-touch passes got them out of it and launched this attack.
What pace shown from the major. You know you're quick when you can beat someone like Adewale like that with such ease. You got the better of Tottenham's number 20 there, and Stellenbosch continue to put on the pressure with another corner.
Just really good play. You can tell they're a really well-coached outfit. I mean, they were under pressure there on the halfway line. Tottenham trying to press and win the ball high up the pitch, but Stellenbosch have the ability to play their way out of it. And then it was Ahmed that played that crossfield ball. And again, the major is the one that they're looking to find. And you can see why when he drives at defenders like that.
Just has such a quick pace about him, and he makes such dangerous runs. He loves the diagonal run as well. He's very direct. Will bring it in field from a wide position. Here is Ahmed again. Ellis Paris tries to just nick it off him, but Stellenbosch spread it out to that left-hand side. Thanks. Just trying to get a touch away from their number 14, Cicero. That's a loose touch from Pilates.
Yeah, just a bit too much pace on that ball. But again, they're living dangerously, Spurs.
That is their philosophy, you can tell. They want to play out from the back, but certainly you can see the quality that Stellenbosch possess. As Tottenham weren't put under this much pressure yesterday, it has to be said, and that's no disrespect to their opposition, but they almost went a goal down. It was Felix with the long ranger. Archer caught off his line, and it's relief for Spurs.
Yeah, whether that was the best decision there for Felix to go for goal, not sure. Of course, the adrenaline and the occasion might have influenced that decision. They had bodies forward, Stellenbosch, but you can't blame him for having a go. It wasn't badly struck at all.
Absolutely. So out on that right-hand side, through Adewale now. He's got Malachi Hardy just to his left. Malachi Hardy, the right centre-half on the ball right now. He started the game yesterday and then Made way for Janai Byfield, who's currently his colleague.
Given away again. They need to do something about this, Tottenham. Not enough tempo in their passing at the back.
Sloppy from Spurs, but they look good going forward. Here's their striker, Lehane, starting on the wing. So here's Beggs. He sprinted out back to his centre-half back line. Adewale just lets it go through him, whether that was intentional.
Just a bit more energy about Stellenbosch in the first 7 or so minutes. Spurs need to get a foot on it and try and shift that momentum. Chances are falling Stellenbosch's way as well, so they did get a bad start when they played a few days ago, Tottenham, against the South African team, so you'd think they would have learnt their lesson.
Stellenbosch have actually scored 2 of their 3 goals in the opening 10 minutes. They do like an early goal in this competition. And they try and make one now. Tottenham so far getting fairly fortunate with the finishing of Stellenbosch. Of course, both attempts at their goal have gone from some distance. You'd think that the longer this game goes on, Tottenham continue their antics, Stellenbosch will be able to make a chance count at some point, but that's a hopeful ball out to that left-hand side. No player there for Stellenbosch, and it will be back in Tottenham territory.
Yeah, Stellenbosch more than happy to go direct when they need to, but they, as I mentioned, do have the ability to play their way through the midfield and into feet. Beautiful passing moves we've seen from them, and again we see Tottenham playing out from the back. That time they do a better job of it.
Press from Stellenbosch is really strong. They're not giving in at the moment. Both centre-halves just play with it together. Adewale popping up in a central midfield role right now. He stretches it out to that right-hand side. Thompson looking deadly as ever. Here it is, back to Tynan Thompson.
Yeah, it does well to win the free kick there because he was a bit outnumbered and he knew the only way he was going to make any real progress was to try and draw the foul. He did just that. So Tottenham not only get a bit of respite, but an opportunity for themselves to flood the penalty area with some of those imposing figures they possess.
You can hear some boos in the crowd. Whether that's directed at the players, I'm not too sure. It certainly adds to the atmosphere that obviously we haven't had much of in the last few games, it being in the training ground. You've had some spectators, but typically just the coaches and those involved with the Premier League. So it's good to have a crowd over on that far side. You can hear the Stellenbosch singing for this Tottenham free kick, as they'll hope their side can keep this out. But Tottenham have an opportunity, first one for a while, to try and open the scoring. And it's Williams-Barnett's ball that's straight into the grasp of Asheen, never troubling Stellenbosch. Here's Felix, tracked down by Feeney. They've got some room here, left open by Spurs. It's a poor challenge from Elliot Paris as he just goes in behind Andreas.
Yeah, carried the ball well there, Andreas. Again, anticipated the contact, got his body in the way.
Stellenbosch really wanting to get this game back underway. You can see the frustrations from Elliot Paris as he's kicked the ball back to Stellenbosch to imply, go on then, take it. If you really want to take it that quickly.
Well, every single element of what Stellenbosch do is intense, whether it be the way they press, whether it be their celebrations, whether it be trying to get decisions, whether it be the pace of the major. It's all a lot to deal with for the opponents, and that's obviously been a huge factor in them being successful this week and reaching the final.
This could be successful from Spurs as it's Lehane leading the line out on that right-hand side, forced out wide by Ahmed, who's playing like a left-back right now. They take it to the corner flag, but it goes in favour of Stellenbosch, and look at that passion from Ahmed. Delighted with himself there as he worked it well. He was forced over to that far corner flag, and he got exactly what he would have wanted. Put his side back in possession of the ball. Like you said about how Stellenbosch just have such an intense approach, it's really fascinating to see. That's exactly what the Premier League Next Generation Cup is all about. Bringing in other cultures into England and playing these other footballing sides overseas that bring their cultures. You saw the dynamic, fluid, fiery culture on the football pitch from India. And now you're starting to see similar with South Africa. It's a different type of intensity. They play the ball so quickly, they're so quick and up for trying to win this game, and you can just tell by the pressing that they're doing. It's like a front four that just go in and press, but it could be a holding midfielder acting like a central attacking midfielder with the amount of players they get forward. Doesn't matter what position you are, just try and get the ball back, win the ball high up the pitch, which is what they're trying to do now.
Well, they've been able to match the physicality of the English sides during this Next Gen Cup. That's maybe an area where some of the Indian sides struggled from set pieces. They just didn't have the size or strength to match Spurs, and Crystal Palace had some joy in that department as well. But Stellenbosch really go toe-to-toe with everyone they come up against, and you know when you play against them, you're not going to get any rest, you're not going to get 5 minutes off at any point. So it'll be interesting to see if Spurs perhaps utilise the roll-on, roll-off at some point to get some freshness in there and try and up the energy.
Well, they have got such a depth in quality, so I know that they can bring on players that will just be like for like replacements or even improve the side. Here comes Stellenbosch. If they look to try and open the scoring after this 12th minute. It's a low ball put in! Oh my, hits the base of the post. And it even went on the inside of it too, which teased Stellenbosch. Here's a second opportunity. Vital header away, but it's still not completely away from a Tottenham perspective.
Yeah, really good work from Felix. Offering that width for Stellenbosch. And Tottenham just about survived, but they're really knocking on the door, and there's a bit of silliness there between
Feeney and Felix. Just the two number 8s having their piece to say at one another. Phoenix on the floor. Just before then, it was the ball that was dinked across the goal from Feeney from this right-hand side, from Felix. And then, of course, Malachi Hardy was in a brilliant position, the number 5 for Tottenham, to head it away. If he didn't get there first, it would have been almost an open net for the Stellenbosch player to just nod it home. So props to Malachi Hardy there. Superb defending to keep his side in it, to keep it level.
He has just booked both Felix and Feeney, so that's a couple of midfielders on yellow cards early doors. And with the pressing and with the harrying in the middle of the pitch, that's not something you want to be having by your name this early on. Referees haven't been afraid to make the big decisions this week.
Only a couple of, I think only one red card was awarded in the whole of the competition, and that was to Patterson, the Aston Villa fullback. He was given his marching orders after 2 quick yellow cards. Stellenbosch looked to try and open the scoring with a firm strike from the man that's just gone in the book, Felix.
Yeah, but he's having a good influence on this game from midfield. Again, it's energy that's allowing Stellenbosch to come out on top at the moment. You see Felix popping up in wide areas and very nearly provided the opening goal a moment ago. But it is Stellenbosch who are coming ever closer.
Tottenham just unable to really make their mark on the game. As of yet, it's been Stellenbosch who look the most likely to score. Of course, yesterday against Matut, Tottenham simply dominated it from start to finish, didn't allow the opposition a sniff at goal. So far it's Stellenbosch of having these opportunities, getting the ball into far more dangerous areas. It feels like most of the attacking has been to our right. But here's Hardy, whose pass is intercepted, and here we go, the Major off and running, bursting into the box as he has to pull it back. And once again, brilliant defending. Callum Logan this time, the Tottenham number 3, having to get across to get there before a player in Stellenbosch colours could before.
Yeah, it was Bailey that was waiting, but they read it well. Tottenham read the danger. Logan in particular positioning himself perfectly, but again, it's the Major causing all sorts of problems down that left flank.
So just at the 15-minute mark now, and it will be Felix once again. Whipping it in, Lane heading it away, as well as Hardy. That's a lovely, cute pass as it opens up room for the number 12, Johannesson, to try and make an effort.
Yeah, but what a touch on the edge of the box from Bailey. As you say, so cute. And Keenan was just forced too wide there.
It's a poor pass from Feeney. It's Tottenham's 19, Elliot Paris just slipped, but they keep the ball. Tottenham may want to just pass it round a bit, just get the feeling for the ball back, as they've been doing the majority of the defending in the opening 15 minutes here. I suppose when they come up such an intense side like Stellenbosch, they've got to be wary and they've got to respect the quality Stellenbosch possess. Tottenham themselves have quality to unlock this Stellenbosch side.
That's much better.
And try and do it now through Williams Barnett. He's got Thompson to his right, but he chooses to take it in field to his left. He's dispossessed, and that's a brilliant challenge as Ahmed then comes forward. Hardy gets there before the Major. He picks out a lovely pass to Thompson. Ahmed popping up on the left side once again. What energy he has. Joy to watch when you see someone play with so little fear and so much intensity. Only imagine what it'd be like at full time. Here's Adewale. Chance to put in a ball again. Williams Barnett does get on the end of it. No real connection to test Stellenbosch.
Yeah, but you want to see the likes of Feeney and Williams Barnett have more influence in this game. They're the ones that have got the quality on the ball to try and wrestle back some control in this game for Tottenham, who just been beaten to everything in the middle of the park up to now.
Thrown long. Byfield's now been caught out of possession, but Hardy once again has had a magnificent game so far, but now Stellenbosch are in a really positive position. Oh my! What a save! Take a bow, Samuel Archer. It looked like it was a guaranteed goal for Stellenbosch, but that's one of the best saves we've seen of the tournament, and we've seen some saves, Ben.
Yeah, we thought the one from the Major earlier was impressive, but this one from even closer range, really clever from Bailey in the first instance. It was quite close to Archer, but he still had to react really quickly.
Brilliant from Archer. I mean, the link-up before that was really, really impressive as well. Bailey certainly caught Tottenham off guard, but Archer, laser focus from him to just stay alert to that danger. He saw the pass and made that excellent save. Just over 6 minutes left of this first half, and the ball's played in towards that back post. Headed away by Elliot Paris. Stellenbosch keeping the intensity going. They keep the ball in the Tottenham half. Another ball played in, as Tottenham may try to counter. Williams Barnett, I think, was fouled. Both Spurs players in Lehane and Elliot Paris having words.
Yeah. But the quality of the chances from Stellenbosch just getting better and better, and Spurs just can't keep giving them up. So many numbers forward for the South African side, and they're winning it in these sort of positions.
Logan trying to take it through the legs of Bailey. Instead, he awkwardly fell into Lehane, which just allowed Stellenbosch to regain the ball. So far, Tottenham have defended well, and they've had a very good goalkeeper in between the sticks to keep out Stellenbosch. Of course, we haven't really seen any of their attacking qualities start like they have done in the last 2 games, but we're seeing them suffer, and that's sometimes what a manager likes to see in their side. Those periods of suffering, to see how they get through it and to see if they do ultimately get through it. And so far, you'd say Spurs are passing the assignment on a defensive front to keep the Stellenbosch attack quiet.
Yeah, well, we saw Lehane going through on goal in the first minute, and you thought that was going to be a theme for the rest of the first half, but really, Elliot Paris has been quite isolated up there for Tottenham, on his own up there, up front.
Major looking so tricky as he gets forward. But now Spurs have a chance to break, and it's Elliot Paris leading the way. Hasn't got much support, but he's got Williams Barnett to his left, who is more behind him instead of in front. So he really would have wanted a runner bombing down that left channel. But he had to make the most of it.
Yeah, Andreas did catch Elliot Paris there. Didn't like the challenge. But I think the frustration really for Elliot Paris is that when he received the ball there, he had 5 Stellenbosch bodies around him, no support, just not able to make anything happen after he received it. And that's what I was saying, he's isolated, Spurs just not getting enough bodies forward. And they just seem to be outnumbered in all areas of the pitch. It's fascinating how Stellenbosch are managing to crowd them out in both halves.
So far, Stellenbosch certainly giving Spurs a run for their money. Here's one of the players that's been devastating so far, yet to get a goal, but certainly looks like he could create one at any chance. Dispossessed fairly easily. Ahmed. Keep passing here once again. Can they make this one count? It's Ahmed! Yes, they can! Firing it into that far corner, and look at the celebrations from Stellenbosch. Shakir Ahmed with his 2nd goal of the Next Generation Cup. And what a goal it means.
It's been coming, and I said Shakir Ahmed loves to get forward. He's a threat in the penalty area, and it was lovely build-up play again from Stellenbosch. Not the first time we've seen them work the ball into the box beautifully, keeping the ball on the ground. Ahmed starting the move there. Bailey has been so involved, and that ball there from Keenan just splitting the lines, and that finish was emphatic, and Stellenbosch deservedly lead.
Well, they cut open through Spurs there so easily, but do you know what? It's more down to the fact that that was just excellence from Stellenbosch. Spurs could only just look. Samuel Archer unfortunately conceding a goal after that heroic save, but he couldn't do much about that. That was a lethal strike, and you felt like when an attacking player like Ahmed is in the box with the space to pull the trigger, he'd make it count, and he certainly did just that.
He's putting forward a real case for player of the tournament, Ahmed. Lovely goal, he scored important goals. The winner yesterday, and off the mark in the final. It's no more than Stellenbosch deserve. They've not just created chances, they've created quality chances, and as you've said, if it wasn't for Archer, I think the goal might have come a fair bit earlier, but Stellenbosch, as long as they can see out this next few minutes, will have the deserved lead at the break.
Such a well-drilled side as well, coached by Evangelos Velius. They know exactly where each other are on the pitch, which is why we're seeing such cute passages of play. Such nimble passing, but so penetrative at the same time. Just managed to work through Spurs. I've seen a lot of the overseas sides maybe go the direct way, but I don't think I've seen once a lump forward from Stellenbosch. They certainly know that they've got quality playing the ball along the floor, and maybe they will switch it up here and there. But so far their passing has been very special.
Yeah, Keenan and Bailey have been superb in the press and with their passing in the final third.
And number 10, Bailey, trying to use his quick feet, but just then it felt like there was so much room left behind Williams-Barnett and in front of him as well. Felt like there was no real Spurs midfield next to Williams-Barnett. He was trying to do all the work on his own, didn't really have an option to pass it to. Instead, it felt like there was a thread of 4 attackers in one line.
Well, Spurs desperately need half-time. It's been one-way traffic for pretty much all of this first half. And as I said, they should have learnt their lessons from the previous meeting. As we see Avantier come on, he had a chance yesterday to make it 2 against Crystal Palace, but he's lively, just like the rest of these Stellenbosch forwards. So active in the press. I think Tottenham are just a bit shell-shocked.
Well, like you said, in the first couple of minutes, Spurs had a few chances. Didn't make any of them count or didn't really test the goalkeeper, Asheen. Stellenbosch have been the exact opposite. I'd argue it should be more than 1-0. And they make a chance now to double their lead. Lovely back heel, but no player there in Stellenbosch colours to receive it. That's a late challenge on Williams-Barnett, but I believe it was a high jump from Williams-Barnett, which is why the referee has blown his whistle.
Just a bit disgruntled at the moment, Tottenham. I think Elliot Paris in particular is cutting a frustrated figure.
Well, this is a really good opportunity for Ahmed as he pulls it across the box again, and it's 2-0! They double their lead with just 90 seconds left of the first half. A disastrous way to end this first 25 for Spurs, but brilliance for Stellenbosch.
Well, again, it's Ahmed getting forward, and we've mentioned Bailey and the quality he's shown. The wherewithal to guide that into the corner with his back to goal was absolutely stunning. He's been a shining light in this first half. And just as I was saying, Tottenham are disgruntled. They're going to be even more furious now. Bit fortunate with deflection, but there's still so much to do for Bailey. And the skill to execute that and completely bamboozle Archer is remarkable.
Well, Tottenham really need to keep their heads up here. They need to stay together. So far, their body language hasn't been the best, which won't please their head coach, Stuart Lewis. But they're still in it. They've still got the quality to overturn this 2-goal deficit, but so far, Stellenbosch are just blowing them away with their skill and their precision in passing. But that goal right there, that flick, was sumptuous.
But you just see no signs of Stellenbosch slowing down. They've not slowed down all week, and if Tottenham are going to get back into this, it's going to have to be through their quality. They're not going to get any drop-off from their opponents.
Well, Feeney and Bailey just exchanging words in the D. Looks like it's getting slightly more aggressive based off their body language. Tension starting to flare in the Spurs camp, but can they make this free kick count? As Thompson's put under pressure by the second goal scorer, Bailey. It now finds its way out to Beggs.
Put themselves under pressure there, Tottenham. Opportunity there to get it into the box and cause a problem or two, but they should have known that if they take it short, they're going to be pressed, and now they're all the way back to the goalkeeper.
Unable to make that set piece count, but 13 seconds left. And the clock in the ground. Of course, it's when it hits the 25th minute, that's when the whistle will blow following the ball exiting play. That was a horn, but not for the timer. Tottenham playing with the ball in the Stellenbosch half, trying to get a goal back to make the second half task slightly easier. I don't think anything is going to be easy about this game. Stellenbosch making it look easy in the majority of their attacks. It was Bailey who made that effort look incredibly easy. So, Spurs, can they make something through Feeney? Nudging it forward to Williams-Barnett, but brilliant pressure from the Stellenbosch number 4, Tylon. But they still continue to come away with the ball, but it's a poor final pass, just on the wrong wavelength. Luca Williams-Barnett and Ellis Lehane unable to make that count, and the goalkeeper will kick it out of play, and that will be half-time. Brilliant for Stellenbosch, a lot to do for Tottenham. It ends here 2-0 to Stellenbosch. So Ben, what do you make of that first half?
Well, it was all Stellenbosch. You saw Ellis Lehane go through for Tottenham, and you saw it at the end of the half there as well. I'm so surprised that we've not seen him making more of those runs through the middle, but in between those two moments for Spurs, it was absolutely dominant from the South African side. You can see a bit of needle as they walk down the tunnel. I think Spurs probably just a bit irritated by Stellenbosch and the intensity, and every single little decision, every little moment, it means the world to them, and that's coming across in their play. For me, nothing wrong with what they're doing. I love the celebrations, I love the energy, but the goals, Ahmed involved in both, opening the scoring, such an emphatic finish, but all the headlines really for me go to Kyle Bailey. That's a goal that we'll be watching a lot of in years to come.
Well, it's disappointing for Tottenham. They had such a magnificent display against Punjab and Mutut. Their body language just doesn't look very good, and that's one thing I praised about the Indian sides, albeit they did have some heavy defeats, but they never gave up. Their body language always seemed positive. They were never getting angry. Yeah, there may have been a few frustrations flare up through the challenges they would make, but overall they stuck together. They still had a smile on their face. Maybe not right at full time, but they still played with a joy. And you're seeing Tottenham get really frustrated now after Luca Williams-Barnett tried to feed in that pass late on in that first half to Ellis Lehane. He just looked instantly frustrated at the striker, didn't know exactly where he was going to place it, and it's things like that that really need to work on, because you don't want to lose the team spirit. But talking of team spirit, the first goal here, what a strike. Ahmed dispossessed the Tottenham player to win it back.
And the thing I love about these goals is so many players involved. That time it was Plates providing the final ball, and Ahmed in those positions is so potent. And then the second one, it was Aventure that fed it through to Ahmed, but that finish, I will never tire of seeing it from Bailey, and the celebrations that ensued were sensational. And it is hard to see a way back for Spurs. Of course, there is still 25 minutes to go, but there's just nothing in that first half that offers any real encouragement besides just a couple of runs from Ellis Lehane. But for me, he's been playing too deep. He's almost been operating solely from this left-hand side. And Reece Elliott-Paris needs more support in that final third. I'd like to see George Feeney and Luca Williams-Barnett get more of the ball, but I think they're just under so much pressure defensively. It's been hard for them to have any time on the ball, pick out the passes to the wide players and to Elliott-Paris. Defensively, they've been okay, but giving the ball away a bit too much for my liking. Been rescued by Samuel Archer on several occasions. I think it's going to be a difficult team talk, and well, they're going to need to start the second half on top, because Stellenbosch will feel they have one hand on that trophy.
Absolutely, they're going to be delighted, but their manager, or head coach Evangelos Velius, will be trying to make sure they don't get too ahead of themselves, because one goal can really change the complexion. But like you said, there's nothing in that first half to suggest that Tottenham will come back. Of course, we can go off their previous performances, but that's out of the window now. Right now, right here, they're not turning up. But then Stellenbosch have been so stellar, they actually haven't given Tottenham really any time to get their star players involved. Luca Williams-Barnett's seen the majority of the ball, but that's simply because of his position. He needs more support, like you said. Yes, he's got Feeney around him, but it feels like none of the wingers are actually getting involved and trying to come in close just to keep the ball. Instead, it feels like they're playing at midfield too with 4 attackers. And when you're in this kind of predicament where you're unable to get a hold of the game, you're unable to play your classic passing move and possession-based plan, then it's hard to do that with just 2 midfielders. You need more in that midfield, not just 2 central midfielders trying to pluck the strings. You need help from the wingers too.
Yeah, but they've got a lot on their hands with Shakir Ahmed getting forward down this right-hand side. So, you know, that's something to worry about. And the major, they're often having to double up on him. So you sort of understand why they've not been able to connect with the central midfielders. I think maybe a tactical adjustment, maybe an extra body in the centre of midfield might be useful to try and get their passing going. We have seen it a couple of times, just flashes. And you think that the momentum of the game's going to turn on those moments, but Stellenbosch, every time you think they're under the cosh momentarily, they just turn it around. They get the ball up the pitch so quickly and in a variety of ways. And as we've touched on, they're all getting so many touches of the ball. They're all settled into this game. Bailey just grew into it as the half went on. Plates has had more of an impact as it's developed.
Well, they're playing without fear, and that's something you can only commend. It's always brilliant to see fearless sides. Of course, sometimes that can be construed as naive, but in this case, Stellenbosch are just being completely fearless. Tottenham giving them really not much to think about in the defensive department. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Tottenham come out this second half. They're going to have to change some things. They can't continue this way, otherwise Stellenbosch can run away with it.
Yeah, not to be overcritical of Tottenham. I mean, Stellenbosch have saved their best performance for today. You know, Tottenham did so well to get here. Probably had to expend a lot of energy over the last couple of days to get the results they needed to reach the final. And suddenly you come up against Stellenbosch again, who are full of belief. 3 wins from 3. But the attacking play we're seeing from them is the best it's been all week, and just sums up the mentality that they got. The big occasion is everything to them. You know, they've got a bit of an entourage with them. They're making some noise as well in the stands, people that are here to watch them, so almost feels like a home game.
Certainly does. Everywhere they go, they provide the noise. They're such a team full of character. It's interesting, all the Stellenbosch players are in that dressing room. Only Tottenham players right now warming up and passing the ball amongst one another, but most Stellenbosch players are currently out here. You think there may be a reason behind that, Ben?
Well, you wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham were lining up a few changes. I think that's essential at this stage, so I don't think we'll have to wait too long before we see perhaps one of these 5 currently warming up enter the fray. No reason to change too much for Stellenbosch. They've been doing a bit of the roll-on, roll-off, and they've probably pre-planned when we'll see some of those other attacking players, the likes of Philander. So
the second half going to kick off any moment now.
Second half
when the teams come out, let's give
needs
them a
to
rapturous round of applause.
follow a very different pattern if you're of a Tottenham persuasion.
It's going to be interesting to see how they fare. Will we see the form that we saw in those last 2 games where they just look formidable, or is history repeating itself from Thursday morning where Stellenbosch managed to control the game for the whole 50 minutes. Tottenham had a couple of chances, but they're coming out now. They've got to keep their heads screwed on here. They can't afford to get frustrated at one another especially. They've got to be in this together. They've got to keep that team spirit. Because when you lose that and you're losing the game, and it's a big game like this is, it's a recipe for disaster. And they'll only be kicking themselves at the end of the game if they were to lose it in a fashion where they'd let their heads drop. At least if you were to lose, and this goes for any side, if you were to lose but keep the spirit high and keep motivated and don't give up, then at least you can go off the pitch knowing that you gave it your all. But I think that can lead to frustrations increasing if you are to actually lose your head at one another, which may feel like the easier route, but it's so important to keep your head. But I suppose you do have to remember that these players out here, the max age is around 18, 19. They've still got plenty of years of development, and that's exactly what this tournament is all about. It's for player development as well as playing other cultures, which can all lead to the development of these players. I like how they've come out early, that they are up for it. I want to see a Spurs side that show their real qualities in this second half. Of course, Stellenbosch I really admire. I think they've been exceptional. But in these games, in these finals, you want it to be an equal, you want both sides to be playing the best that they have to offer, and I know for a fact there is more to offer in that Spurs side right now. Of course, Stellenbosch are doing their job magnificently. They've kept Spurs quiet, this type of Spurs squad, which has got so much talent. So you've got to commend Stellenbosch, and of course it's easier said than done to say you want to see both teams playing their best.
There needs to be a change in the momentum. That's the thing that Tottenham have never quite been able to get a grasp of, because Stellenbosch aren't invincible. Crystal Palace very nearly took the lead against them yesterday. They had the penalty miss and controlled the game at times, Palace, and we've seen Tottenham against other high quality opposition like Punjab FC when they won 3-0. That's a Punjab side that scored a couple of goals against Aston Villa and defeated them today as well. So it's a very capable Spurs side. Just need one moment perhaps to go their way. And if they can get one in the next 10 minutes, then we've got a real grand slam finish on our hands.
Well, there have been some substitutions made. Herbie James is coming onto the pitch, as is Dexter Oliver. So 2 changes down this right-hand side. Adewale's still on the pitch. I believe Beggs is 2. Tyne Thompson has gone over to that far left-hand side. So originally in that first half, he did play on the right. Looks like he's going to be starting off on the left in this second half. So the players to come off, of course, Dexter Oliver on and Herbie James.
Yeah, not surprised at all that we're seeing some personnel changes. And you see the number 9, Ellis Lehane, on the centre circle, and that's the position I want to see him in a bit more. Playing off the shoulder, making those runs, because they did make life difficult for Stellenbosch once or twice.
So I believe Dexter Oliver has come on for Feeney, George Feeney, taken off. Then it's Herbie James who has come on as well. So 2 changes from Spurs, none from Stellenbosch. I'm sure it's just more of the same. All these substitutions have their say and make their mark on this game. Spurs need them to. 2-0 down from 2 brilliant, well-worked goals from Stellenbosch in that first half. Good hold-up play from Lehane as he just manages to take it away. He looks like he's fired up for this second half, calls for a penalty, but James fizzes one in. Adewale getting a touch to try and take it away from the major.
Yeah,
Player is down.
Again, that's some encouragement, and again, it's through Lehane when he's in that central area and he's able to run with the ball. Makes things happen, and not sure how much contact there was or whether that was ever in the referee's mind to give the penalty, but he was bundled over and he's a menace when he's in that position, Lehane.
Played well with Herbie James yesterday. Herbie James scored the first in that 4-0 win against Punjab yesterday, and he even took a free kick from a good range, but he tested the Muthoot goalkeeper. And look, this is just the passion and the vibrant energy that the side from South Africa bring to this competition. Great to see that on the sidelines, of course. Herbie James took a magnificent free kick yesterday. It was curling into that top corner, but it was palmed away from Inas, the Muthoot goalkeeper. Excellent save. So Herbie James, from what I've seen, does have the ability to take a dangerous free kick. I would think if Spurs were to get in a similar position, he'll be the man to try and make it count. Good drive forward from Byfield, but they lose the ball, Spurs, and this would be devastating if Stellenbosch were to make this count. The Major up against Spurs' number 5, but he tests the keeper, Samuel Archer, but he comes down and passes the assignment. It was the Major up against Malachy Hardy.
Yeah, really good from the Major. The ball from Keenan was actually just a bit behind him initially, so he had to work quite hard to actually gather it and create the space for the shot eventually. And it was a decent effort across the face. It was the right idea, but Archer has been equal to a lot of those efforts so far, and no different this time.
Here is Hardy. We had good bits of defending in that first half. But a convincing header away, which would have surely guaranteed a Stellenbosch opener.
Well, this is better from Tottenham, showing some attacking intent, getting bodies forward.
James, and the ball. This one goes well wide of the goal frame. The troubling Stellenbosch. Is it short? He's kept on with the feet of Cicero, but he gives it away briefly to Beggs. Here's Dexter Oliver, who has his first real mark on the game since coming on, and he's linking up with his substitute as well. It's a really dangerous ball put across the box. Here it is, picked up by Tynan Thompson. So Herbie James has come on for Reece Elliott Paris. Poor ball put in from Thompson and easily dealt with by Tylon.
Well, that was really good, though, from Oliver and James. Sort of combinations we were seeing from the Stellenbosch forwards in the first half. Tottenham giving them a taste of their own medicine, and there's more purpose in their passing.
Here is Oliver. Tried to slide it into Williams Barnett. He felt he was fouled, but here comes the Major. Good to have him on our side this time so we can really have a look at what he can do. Another strike, another save. Samuel Archer meeting that effort, fairly routine.
Well, he's not afraid to go for the spectacular, the Major. He is going to be the outlet if Stellenbosch are going to sit a bit deeper and play on the counter-attack, soak up some of the pressure and then release him. He's got that pace. And as you saw there, not afraid to shoot from distance. He's got the ability to trouble Archer.
James just had the ball taken off in there. He tried to make a run in field. Instead, South Africa Stellenbosch just passing it around this left-hand side. Major again with Oliver going in on him, but unable to win the ball back. Logan will have his say. Hardy. All under his studs. And to organise his defence with Janai Byfield. Logan tried to take that pass in his stride, but in doing so, it was a heavy touch.
You're seeing Adewale now spending a bit more time in that midfield area, adding an extra body in there just to gain some control in this game for Spurs. He's not afraid to drift across from right back. Obviously a very popular tactic among English sides at the very top of the game now. Tottenham adopting that as well, and perhaps that will spark something for them.
Here goes Beggs, who impressed me yesterday. Picking out a ball to James. Back to Beggs. Big drop of the shoulders. He opens up room to his left, but Adewale unable to keep that under his spell. Now Stellenbosch look to try and counter. tell that the half-time talk has clearly influenced Tottenham as they're starting to have more possession of this game, unable to make anything clear-cut as of yet, but certainly enjoying the ball more than they did in that first half. It's almost a loose touch, which allowed Tottenham to get it, and the ball almost came over to us, hit the advertisement board before I was able to show my heading ability.
No, but positive signs from Tottenham. Good to see that they've come out with belief that they can get back into this. It can get edgy if you can reduce the arrears, but Stellenbosch still not conceded a goal in the Next Gen Cup.
Bartes. Andreas. Wants to go back. Good pressure from Oliver there. Tylon. Sishi. Ball forward.
We're just not quite seeing the same patterns of play from Stellenbosch. They are clearly sitting a bit deeper, perhaps content with the 2-goal cushion and confident enough that they can keep Spurs out for the next 25 minutes.
I'm sure they feel confident with the quality they possess and the counter. We've got players like the Major and Plates who have such speed.
Tottenham will be delighted, though, that they have somewhat changed their approach. Maybe it was difficult for Stellenbosch to keep up that intensity for 50 minutes. Spurs just playing their way out a bit better now. That's really nice again from Adewale.
Oliver looking up, Adewale just in front of him. He tries to feed it into Adewale, who's then fouled. Good work from Oliver. Looked like it may have just been out of Adewale's reach. I suppose he stuck out a leg and in doing so was fouled. Tottenham have a free kick and they want to try and make this one count.
Yeah, just more tempo to their game now. Just good awareness from Adewale. He understood that if he did get there first, he would have got the free kick.
Legs. Into Oliver. Almost win it back. James clearly fouls. Cicero there.
So unnecessary. And James.
Pointless yellow card as well, considering he's only been on for about 6 minutes. That'll frustrate Lewis, the Spurs head coach.
Well, the foul in the first place was unnecessary, and picking up a yellow card in the process, not smart.
They've gone long, but Hardy's underneath that. Aggressive run forward from Hardy. Hain dropping quite deep. You said you wanted to see him more in that striker role. He's willing to drop deep and try and open up an opportunity for one of his colleagues. Hogan chases Bailey. Stellenbosch managed to weave the ball through that Tottenham pressure. Hain will try and chase. Second favourite to it, though. Stellenbosch starting to try and play it a bit more in the air, I'm starting to see, Ben.
Yeah, as I said, we're not quite seeing the same intricate passing that we witnessed in the first half. In fact, it's Tottenham that are adopting that approach more as we move through this game, but as you've mentioned, not created any clear chances, and with 18 minutes of play left, they have to start doing that.
Meg's lucky there as ricochets back to his colleague Byfield. Adewale. Hardy. James linking up with Oliver. Safety first approach there from Andreas.
Yeah, with Oliver and James, they do seem to have a telepathic connection, always picking out each other's runs. Just need to turn that into something a bit more fruitful.
Goal here would be vital for Spurs, but so far they're just unable to try and break down this Stellenbosch stubborn back line. But can they do so here at the byline? They get a corner kick doing so. Created from Herbie James.
Yeah, he's been positive since he came on, James. All right, he picked the yellow card off a moment ago, but hasn't let that bother him. He's still getting on with it and trying to get to that byline. They clearly feel that's their best chance of getting a meaningful cross into the box and causing problems for Sheen in goal.
And it looks like Roy Keane Avontier is going to come on. That's Stellenbosch's first substitution. Just see by their bench Evangelos Velius with both his arms around two of his players, motivating them before they're introduced. Like a father figure, you can tell. They seem like a very united team. And it's relationship building like that from Velius that can spark that togetherness.
Yeah, not surprised to see Stellenbosch freshening things up a bit. Completely forgivable if they have dropped off slightly with their energy levels since the first half. And if they're just going to see this out, they want fresh legs right until the end.
Just time being taken for this throw. Adewale will be the one to take it as Beggs just passed him the ball. More substitutions on for Stellenbosch, more fresh legs. James calling for it. Go to Lehane. Just try forcing it, I think, a bit too much. There wasn't really anyone in Spurs colours there to fetch that return pass from Adewale. Here's Ahmed. We've got Stellenbosch's final underway with his lovely strike across the face of goal into the far corner. Devastating strike. Good work from Oliver, who's certainly been a reason for Tottenham's increase of tempo in this second half. But can they hit them on the break? As it's the substitute, their number 11, Avontier, who tries to break forward. He does so, but is unable to pick out that pass to the major.
Yeah, just 1, 2, 3 quick passes, and suddenly they're in. So they are going to be dangerous on the counter. Spurs have clearly got to commit bodies forward.
Thompson did well there to take down that pass from Beggs. Lovely turn from Byfield in the meantime. Both Tottenham centre-halves in Janai Byfield and Malachi Hardy, very confident with the ball at their feet. It's a poor clearance, but could actually end up going to the major. It can't. The Tottenham throw. Adewale back to Hardy. Stellenbosch just keeping a really good shape here, aren't they, Ben?
They are. They are absolutely fine trying to see this out.
And they keep Tottenham out now. Lehane out to Thompson, who's yet to really make an impact on this game as of yet, but he's forced to go over to that corner flag. Here is Williams Barnett. Thompson again. Cute pass played from Beggs into Williams Barnett. Lovely footwork. Can he finish off the move? Lehane just unable to keep the ball. Adewale putting on the most pressure they've put on Stellenbosch all game. A deep ball from James and easily dealt with by Stellenbosch, but Beggs keeps it in the Stellenbosch half.
It's impressive that Stellenbosch have completely shifted their mentality in the second half, and they're equally capable of being effective in this manner as they were with the free-flowing, quick football we saw early doors.
That's a lovely link-up. Williams Barnett could have really scored a brilliant goal just then. as he saw the opportunity open up, but once again, a Stellenbosch defender was there to block it. Fiercely cleared away. Ball not leaving the Stellenbosch half for now, Ben. Not something we thought we'd be saying in this second half, but Tottenham have brought the game to Stellenbosch in this second period.
Yeah, well, maybe they did think that they just couldn't keep up that style that we saw from them in the first half. It will have taken a lot of energy out of them. It's not easy to just constantly press as high as they were, winning the ball back, and all those short sprints you're asked to do when you're forward, pressing in those situations. But they did make life difficult for Spurs, and ultimately that's what led to the breakthrough.
Good block there, following Williams-Barnett's strike. Just used the back of his leg to ensure it didn't test Dejeen Asheen. But now Tottenham will look to try and test Stellenbosch once again with this corner. In the halfway period of the second 25, Tottenham starting to see the clock go on and their time run down. Still got a couple of goals to score to try and get something from this and to try and get a chance to win the Next Generation Cup. Still haven't won this competition yet. It's a deep ball played in, but it's easily dealt with by Tylon. Still Spurs who come away with it though. That's a lovely ball played in from Oliver. Just didn't have a Spurs player in the best position to try and get on the end of it. Here's Thompson popping up on the right-hand side for the first time this game so far. Adewale. Referee intercepting that. Always so frustrating for the players when you see that.
Yeah, but Stellenbosch are dealing with everything Spurs are throwing at them. All these crosses coming in. They're decent deliveries, but Stellenbosch defenders standing firm. Tylon's been outstanding for them at centre-back.
Williams-Barnett, who's an energetic player for Spurs so far. Makes the ball in a stride and tries to conjure up an opening, but look at the amount of players that are just around Lehane there, giving him really no time on the ball, but he still picks out a good pass to James, but Stellenbosch's defending has just been exceptional so far.
So clever from Ahmed, really is, winning the ball back, and when he was springing away there from James, there's only one thing on his mind, it was to win the free kick. Just give his teammates a breather. What a leader he is.
Hardy underneath that again. Beggs will just let it roll up his body and keep it under his spell. Good work there from Tottenham's number 6. Adewale. No real options around him apart from Hardy to his left. Of course, he picks out Byfield.
I think this change in tack from Stellenbosch has worked to perfection. You know, been an improved performance from Tottenham second half, but a lot of that's been allowed from Stellenbosch. They're happy for them to have the ball in these areas. They're just struggling to really make significant progress in most of the attacks.
It's another substitute on that far side, Harry Byrne. Very versatile player, was playing centre-back yesterday and now he's popping up in the left-back role. Here comes Williams-Barnett. Fierce strike, calls for a handball. Dexter Oliver will pick it up. Almost it looked like it was going to creep into that bottom corner. We'll have to look at a replay there as there was a bundle of bodies in front of the goal. Unsure who got the decisive touch to clear it away. But it's fallen in favour of Stellenbosch as they're now the team in the attack, and this is the first time we've looked to our left for some time. And the major...
Well, that's going to irritate Tottenham.
Taking the mick there with that skill. It's the ball at his feet. Shows the confidence he's got, and this is the confidence from Williams-Barnett. Spotting the keeper off his line and trying to go for the spectacular. Stellenbosch did that in the first half and it was unsuccessful, and Spurs just tried to do the same.
It was the right thing to do. The keeper was off his line and he has got the quality to produce something like that, Williams Barnett. And in a game like this where they have had so little to shout about, it might have taken something like that to get them back into the game.
That's the end of the action for Tynan Thompson as he comes off.
Let's go, let's go, let's go! Almost there, Stanley!
Now looks like Herbie James has popped up on that left-hand side. Adewale has made a more advanced move up the pitch, not playing right back anymore. Now the Major up against his new opponent in that right back role. Archer has to be very careful here, and he did it well. And it's Dante Orr who's got an eye for a pass. So Spurs will hope he can use that eye to try and unpick the ball. But here's Ahmed coming forward, poor pass.
Yeah, when you are chasing a game, I've always been an advocate of playing even midfielders at fullback. If you're going to have the ball in that part of the pitch so often, why not have someone that has as much quality on the ball as possible? You know you're going to be struggling defensively, but you've got to sacrifice that at this stage of a cup final. Just 8 minutes to go. Of course, Orr is capable defensively as well, but I think that was the right move, bringing on somebody with that eye for a pass, as you say.
To try and unlock that Stellenbosch defence, well, number 11, Roy Keane Avontia, has made way for Cheswin Philander. He tries to put pressure on Michael Hardy, but the tall frame of Spurs number 5 deals with that well. Stellenbosch tried to break forward, but Burns not having any of it, and he sets off a nice pass to James, who's got a spring in his step as white shirts swarm forward to try and get something from this. They get a corner.
They do. James perhaps not having the joy he wanted down this flank, so he tries his luck around the other side, and it doesn't matter which defender you're up against, they're all working for each other, the Stellenbosch back line, and so determined to see this one out and not just win the cup, but keep a clean sheet.
And another chance. It's just played out to Orr again. So he's got an eye for a pass, but it's a short one there. And able to try and unlock the defence again, and it's just Orr left on his own. Completely isolated in that back line. Can Stellenbosch get a third and surely seal the win of the Next Generation Cup? Here's the Major. Oh, he's taken it around the keeper, but that's brilliant defensive work from William Byrne.
Yeah, the Major had eyes only for goal there. Can't blame him. He's been a star throughout this competition, and he wants to register a goal to sign off with, but it was good work initially from Felix to find him. And Spurs are going to be exposed on the break. There's no getting away from that. And it's just up to whether Stellenbosch can put this to bed finally.
Really good work from Harry Byrne, helping out his goalkeepers. It looked like it was going to be a guaranteed third. The second he took it round the keeper, you thought he was just going to strike it into an open net, but Harry Byrne was there to ensure that wasn't the case, and Tottenham still have a chance here. Stellenbosch keeping the pressure on when it matters, now that we're going into the last 7 minutes of the game. Odds are highly stacked for Stellenbosch to see this through, as Tottenham have enjoyed more of the ball in this second half, but haven't been able to make anything count.
No, it's not been as convincing as the progressive passing we were seeing from Stellenbosch. Tottenham a bit more laboured in their work.
Here's the Major. Can he get his third for his side? Well, Oliver says no, brings the ball forward. It's really good work from the number 15, Andreas. Although he didn't actually win the ball back, it did feel like he was going to at some point. It was great determination. They're really playing for one another here, Stellenboschers. They haven't completely suffered in this second half, but they've had to be switched on, ensure Tottenham don't suddenly catch them out of the blue, because that really can change the dynamic. Here's Dante Orr. Poor ball that time. Ahmed.
It's not a coincidence that Stellenbosch haven't conceded in this tournament. The attacking players get all the plaudits, and rightly so. But their defensive work is just as impressive.
Absolutely, a really good point, and something worth mentioning. They haven't conceded a goal all tournament. So that really does probably make Tottenham fear the fact that they are 2-0 down. They're up against the best defence of the tournament. They have to try and score 2 goals to even take it to a penalty shootout. Stellenbosch obviously haven't won a penalty shootout so far, and it doesn't look like they're going to need to go to penalties with their comfortable 2-goal lead going into the final 5 minutes. And they're just playing with the ball, passing it around Spurs here. After letting them have the ball for the majority of the second half, Stellenbosch is starting to have the ball in their territory again.
Exactly right. The tables have sort of turned back to closer to what we saw in the first half. It's almost as if the danger that Stellenbosch were posing on the counter-attack has forced Tottenham to retreat a bit. It's all looking very comfortable for the South African side. We're 5 minutes away from a famous win. And if it's going to happen for Tottenham, it needs to be now. We need to see more of that link up between the midfield and the wide players, which was a theme in the first part of the second half, but less so in the last few minutes.
Spurs still trying to work it round here as the timer gets closer to that 50-minute mark. Stellenbosch start to believe that the next generation cup is back in South Africa. Here's Orr again. Nice work as he manages to get it through to Oliver. Crucial block again, as it looked like it was destined for that bottom corner. Spurs still have it. That's a really poor finish. Just when you need the finishing to be on point. That's the last thing Spurs need, as Stellenbosch have the ball now.
Yeah, decent opportunity. It was nice play from Williams Barnett initially. I think he's actually probably been one of the brightest sparks in this Spurs team today. He's been the one in the second half trying to get them going, trying to rally his troops. That effort, missing the target, probably spells the end for Tottenham's hopes. The initial effort as well from Oliver was just crowded out. Again, Stellenbosch bodies in the way of everything.
You've got to commend Stellenbosch for making this setup. The fact that they're bringing these sides and they're giving the English sides a run for their money. So far, they've beaten every side they've come up against. And you see the infrastructure that there is over in England and even Europe. But Stellenbosch are not fazed by that. They were only made and established in 2016. So this is their 8th year since they were made. And already it looks like their youth setup is one to really admire around the world. They're based in the Winelands region of Western Cape. Typically a student town, around 27,000 people, so a young population. And their young side today is doing the job to bring the Next Generation Cup to Western Cape. And of course, they may be winning this as well, but under-21 champions in 2022. And this year, of course, national under-18 champions in 2023. So some of these players would have played their part in that winning year last year.
Herbie James just getting frustrated. Tottenham in general starting to realise that it's just not going to be their day. Clear from the off that that was heading that way.
Well, Lahane off, their top goal scorer of the competition. Scored a brace in their 3-0 win against Punjab. Unable to make an impact in this game. Williams Barnett still looking energetic as ever. But they just work it well again, Stellenbosch. Here's Bailey. He scored a lovely flicked goal to make it 2-0. Look forward to watching that back after the game. Can they make it 3-0? It's Bailey once again, surely, oh my! Through the face of goal, the Major picks it up on this left-hand side. Felt like it was destined to hit the back of the net. Or just occupying Sishi. The ball doesn't find anyone, but it does make its way to Felix, who tries to play a lofted ball out to that right-hand side. It's unsuccessful.
So good again from Bailey. Everything about his work is so clean, and that ball across the face of goal, just asking to be tapped in. A couple of Stellenbosch bodies were arriving, and the Major at the back post, and Keenan before him just couldn't quite get on the end of it. Bailey would have deserved an assist to add to his goal.
It's just not going to be Tottenham's day. It's one for Stellenbosch to celebrate, deservedly so. No goals conceded as of yet. Still a couple of minutes left to be played. But what a tournament they've had. Beating Spurs twice. The campaign started against them and it'll end against them, both in victorious manners. Can they add insult to injury, as they've looked dangerous to try and get a third, but it's that final ball that just lets them down. On the timer in the ground, 80 seconds to go. Referee awarding another yellow card as tensions rise.
Yeah, Keenan knew making the foul was a smart decision there. Happy to take the yellow for his team.
Number 15. Andreas just limping off the pitch, maybe with a bit of cramp. Of course, it's been a hefty work for these boys. Both sides, all sides in fact, have played football for 4 days in a row, 50 minutes worth, but realistically, we're looking towards an hour or just over that. So these young lads have done well, and I'm sure they've learnt a lot about one another in their own game in this concentrated competition that provides so much excitement for these players and those watching back home. Stellenbosch have proved to be the better of Tottenham, those they face this tournament. They've got a rich history in the Next Generation Cup, and it looks like they're about to just add to that history so far, as they make amends for their defeat against Wolves last year, which funnily enough came from the penalty shootout, and that's the one thing they probably haven't been good at this competition this year, but they won't care. Interesting call there from the referee. It looked like a clean challenge, but maybe there was a clip from Ahmed. So Tottenham with a last-minute chance to take away Stellenbosch's 100% clean sheet record. Fairly unorthodox stop there from the goalkeeper as he comes running out of his line to clear it away with his leg. Still alive here. It's Elliot Paris who's come on for the last bit of the game to try and make an impact, but the goalkeeper clears it away. And Stellenbosch win the Next Generation Cup of 2024. Jubilation for the side from Cape. Dejeen Asheen going over to the bench and leaping up in the air of joy. What a performance that was, Ben.
Fully deserved victory. They got the job done in the first half with some of the most enjoyable football to watch we've seen all week, showing exactly what the Next Generation Cup is all about. And in the second half, it was just about protecting that lead. They sat a lot deeper. They knew they had the threat on the counter-attack. Almost scored a third. but they showed such determination to hang on to that clean sheet. The way those defenders hold the line and work with each other and head away everything that was coming their way. You never felt they were under any real stress. In fact, it was probably them that you thought were going to get the next goal in that second half, but they're more than happy to just take the 2-0 victory, take the Next Gen Cup, and I hope we see a lot more of them. It's been a fantastic competition, so much excitement. The Indian sides gave a great account of themselves, Punjab in particular with a couple of impressive wins, but Stellenbosch have been the standout and are deserved winners in style.
Really impressive, the fact that they haven't even conceded a goal, and you can see there why. Barely gave Tottenham a sniff. Tottenham just weren't able to have any answers to try and break down that Stellenbosch defence. And what's so remarkable about this side is not only are they so defensively sound, but it's those defensive players that can bomb forward and provide such attacking threats. Ahmed especially, the captain, who's back to brace over the competition as the stage gets set for Stellenbosch to take in this moment in front of the Allison stand at the Loughborough University Stadium. It certainly is a moment that by far the most passionate footballing team that we've seen this competition deserve. They go over to celebrate with their fans and loved ones as they win this year's Next Generation Cup. Back to winning ways in this competition. Of course, it was heartbreak in India last year when they drew 1-1 to Wolves and lost on penalties. But that does not matter anymore. They didn't even need to take it to penalties. They were that magnificent in the playtime. So we've got Grant with a member of the Premier League with him down pitch side. Over to you, Grant.
Hello guys, and we're at the end of the Premier League Next Gen Cup 2024. What a final it was. Stellenbosch beats Tottenham Hotspur 2-0. And I'm with Head of Academy Football Operations at the Premier League, Ed Vahid. Ed Vahid, how have you enjoyed today's final?
It's been a fantastic final. I think Stellenbosch, well-deserved winners, very good on the front foot, very assertive in their play. It's been a brilliant atmosphere and a great end to a fantastic tournament.
It's been so much fun covering the Premier League Next Gen Cup 2024. Right from the go, it's been teams battling it out. How important is it that a team like Stellenbosch in the South African League wins this tournament and shows the competitiveness that is all across the world?
Well, we know the quality of our English academy teams and the technical quality, the tactical quality they have. So when you invite in international teams or they're qualifying, you want to ensure they provide a competitive element, and Stellenbosch absolutely did that.
Now, the 2024 edition, the 5th edition of the Next Gen Cup was amazing. Can you let us into any sort of secrets? Or I know the planning's already going into the 2025 version. How are we going to top it to make it even better?
So I think it'll be challenging. I know the team will debrief this competition really diligently. We'll invite the clubs to feedback on their experience, and I'm sure we'll look to evolve the programme next year.
Ed Vahid, thank you for joining me. Stellenbosch has won 2-0 in an amazing Premier League Next Gen Cup 2024. Thank you very much for joining me. Throw it back to commentary.
Thank you very much, Grant. So obviously the stage is getting set up for the trophy lift. Stellenbosch, I'm sure, delighted with that performance. So just to recap the whole competition, what players stood out for you, Ben?
Well, I think you can take your pick from this Stellenbosch side. Ahmed, as you mentioned, with the goal today and another one yesterday against Crystal Palace. That was a beautifully glanced header which sent the place into absolute jubilation. I thought Guite Baker of East Bengal was very impressive as well.
So, down with Grant, talking about one of the best players of the tournament, Shakir Ahmed, the first goal scorer and skipper. Down with our presenter, Grant.
Hello guys, it's Grant Obokwe and I'm pitchside after the final of the Premier League Next Gen Cup 2024. I'm with the Stellenbosch captain, Shakir. Please, bro, can you even put into words how you're feeling right now after Stellenbosch's victory?
Yeah, I'm not sure I could put it into words, Grant. We're just so happy. I mean, it's our second Next Gen for the club. I mean, 3 finals in 3 years. I mean, we're just so happy for it. And, you know, for these boys also traveling a long way and making sure that we, you know, every game putting in the same intensity, and it's game after game after game. You know, yeah, just so happy for the boys, happy for the club, happy for South Africa also, and all the people that supported us back home.
Yeah, just talk to me just a little bit just about how much it means just to win this cup. You faced off against all the teams and you've beaten all the teams. How does it feel now to be the champions of the Next Gen Cup?
Yeah, I mean, facing off against 3 Premier League teams, playing Tottenham twice, you know, we knew it was going to be hard, but I mean, staying consistent, you know, making sure that we tight at the back and, you know, finishing our chances up front. And yeah, we ended up with 4 clean sheets for the tournament, and yeah, we're just so happy that we could make it all the way and get the gold medal.
Now, you told me after your final group game, we was going to do a little dancey dance if you won the final. So you got to lead the way out and I'll follow. Show me what we're going to do, a little Amapiano dance.
Yeah, so the thing is, you know, you asked me what would happen if I scored in the final.
All right.
And guess what happened now? I scored the first goal in the finals, and I hit the dance for you.
You're true. I could have come onto the pitch. I wanted to.
You're going to red card or something.
But bro, you smashed it today. You're not gonna celebrate well. You said you done it for South Africa. You done it for Stellenbosch. Well done, Stellenbosch captain Shakir. Big up yourself, man. Throw it back to the commentary.
Brilliant stuff. Unfortunate, Grant. Sorry you couldn't get the dance with Shakir Ahmed, but what a performance he had. One of the standout players, of course. You had loads of brilliant players for India as well. Really impressed with some of the goalkeeping from Enas of Muthoot. So lots of impressive players for India, and it's a country that's growing their football sport over there. They're growing the infrastructure, and competitions like this certainly can bolster the coverage of individual players like Mohamed Sohail. Really impressive player for Punjab. Dynamic, quick, Dodem too. So these players for India, I'm sure, have got very high ceilings, and this is just the start for India to make their mark on world football.
Yeah, they were very easy on the eye, like those Indian sides. Punjab, of course, got the best results, and they were undeniably the standout team, but I think some of the results are a bit harsh on the Indians. Of course, the physicality of the Premier League sides proved to be the difference, and that's why Stellenbosch came out on top. They were able to match that.
It's like they have the dynamism of India and then the technicality and physicality of the English sides, and that is why they are in this position now, taking selfies, ready to lift the trophy of the Next Generation Cup, as they're just waiting to make their way. But it's interesting. It's going to be really good to see how Stellenbosch do, and how they become a world footballing icon, of course, with introductions of the Club World Cup, the FIFA Club World Cup. That does give a platform for these sides that wouldn't be in big competitions like the Champions League to actually make their mark on the world. Of course, that comes into play in a couple of years' time, and that will give the opportunity for teams like Stellenbosch to have their first side recognised worldwide. So it's an exciting time for these teams that are outside of Europe.
Indeed, and look at the togetherness of this Stellenbosch side. They've been like brothers all week, singing and dancing together, supporting one another every time they score. Not just the players, the whole bench, the staff run towards each other. They brought lots of representatives from their camp who have been cheering them on and singing on the stands.
They're just giving their thanks to the Premier League, but also to Aston Villa, the training ground, for hosting such a brilliant tournament, and of course Loughborough University for lending their spectacular sporting facilities to this competition. Everywhere you look, they've got a court or a field for absolutely everything. So the prestigious Loughborough University were very generous to lend their facilities to the Premier League to host what was a really good game between Stellenbosch and Spurs, specifically for those associated with Stellenbosch.
Let's make sure we put our hands together for our runners-up, Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, Tottenham rightfully getting a round of applause. The way they battled back from that opening day defeat to Stellenbosch was exemplary. A couple of really important wins, notching the penalty shootout victories as well. And yeah, they fell short today, but I think Stellenbosch it was their destiny almost. They were never going to lose. They were so up for it. The huddles, the passion, the entourage they've brought with them, just felt like their day from the very first whistle. But Tottenham can hold their heads up high. They were the best of the Premier League outfits, and undeniably a bright future ahead for many of those lads.
Samuel Archery made a brilliant save in the first half when it was at 0-0. Could have been more for Stellenbosch at points, but he made sure that wasn't the case. There's Callum Logan, substitute there, and of course, very impressive Luca Williams-Barnett, who had brilliant performances in this competition.
Yeah, I thought he was their best player today, Williams-Barnett. End product was lacking for Tottenham at times, but he was the one that was trying to pull the strings, trying to make things happen. He's clearly got a lot of technical ability. Certainly one to look out for.
Tynan Thompson as well, brilliant game yesterday at Punjab. Didn't quite go his way today, wasn't really given the freedom to roam down that left-hand side that he often liked to during this competition. Plenty of young players there, some under 16s as well, so fair play to those individuals at that age. We're coming up against a really physical side in Stellenbosch.
Let's give a massive round of applause to the other team on the pitch that we cannot forget, the match officials. We've had match officials from England, South Africa and India support the Next Gen Cup. So let's give them a massive round of applause.
We spoke about it on commentary the other day, about the fact that this has been a really good place for these referees to grow. And there's been referees from all around the world, specifically, of course, South Africa, India and England, that have officiated these games and had some brilliant performances. Let the game go on when there's maybe been a foul that could have been stopped. They let the game carry on, keep its fluidity, and then book the player when needed.
Not least, let's put our hands together and welcome onto the stage our Premier League Next Gen champions of 2024, Stellenbosch!
So deserved winners, not a goal conceded. Stellenbosch getting ready to take in their moment with magnificent goals today, scored by Shakir Ahmed and their number 10, Carl Bailey. What a tournament they've had.
Yeah, it's not easy to pick your favourite Stellenbosch player. I mentioned Shakir Ahmed. I think he's probably just edged it, but the major was a joy to watch. Kyle Bailey today, absolutely phenomenal. That goal was fit to clinch any game, let alone the final.
Well, Stellenbosch about to lift the trophy as all the players and staff enter the stage for one of their finest moments of their careers. Defensively perfect. Their attacking was exciting. Certainly deserved winners as they collect their medals. Get ready to embrace this moment of being Premier League Next Generation Cup champions.
Yeah, they're going to have a lovely evening. Celebrations, I'm sure, will be just as jubilant as the celebrations we've seen on the pitch every day this week since the competition started on Thursday.
And there, Shakir Ahmed going over to take the trophy, the top goal scorer. Sensational Stellenbosch, the champions. Jubilation and fireworks going off for the excellent Stellenbosch.
Yeah, great to see them celebrating this with means so much to them, and they've been able to tell that all week long, and they wanted this one badly today.
So that's 2 times they've won this competition. They're certainly a side to fear. Will be interesting to see where they are this time next year. I'm already looking forward to it, Ben. What a competition it's been.
What a competition. The contrast in styles that we've seen, the contrast in cultures. Not only Stellenbosch, but the 3 Indian sides have been a joy. Same can be said for the English sides, all of whom have brought different skills to the table. Seen so many goals, so many great goals, including a couple today. And I can't wait for the next instalment, for the Next Gen Cup.
Still got a season to go until that. So we have been your commentators, Ollie Ordis and Ben Smith. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching the competition over the last 4 days. It's been an absolute joy to commentate on. We hope you've enjoyed it at home. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. It's the champion Stellenbosch who beat Tottenham Hotspur in the final 2-0.